And this kid comes into the program, hoodie up, head down, disengaged. The second week of the program, his coach is like, Chef, what are you doing? He is ripping up his binder, his curriculum binder, like shredding it, just the rage. He has totally shredded this thing and throws it in the trash. He finishes the program. He hates every week of it. He doesn't smile. He doesn't enjoy it. But on that leadership day, he breaks through on that ropes course. And he's like a stud up there. Aww. And he's leaving last night. Now I was just giving a few encouraging words. I'm like, man, good luck. He's like, I'm coming back. I'm like, your grandma's making you come back? He's like, no, I want to come back. And he smiled. There's a crack in the wall of a heart. And there's a lot there that we haven't got to yet with him, but it's starting to come. Mm-hmm. That's the power of 5-star. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with the shivering Coach Mia, my co-host.
I am freezing for some reason.
Welcome to the show. If you're tuning in via YouTube, our YouTube channel at the 5-Star Life, you'll note Mia is wearing, instead of her, she's super stylish, she's so creative, and she's wearing a coat today. It's a very stylish coat, I might add.
That I just had in my office.
Just for moments like these.
It is.
Where it's 70 degrees outside, but you're cold inside the office and shivering.
It's a damp cold, as my mom always says.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to the program, really want to encourage you to check us out online at 5starlife.org. It can be the number 5 or the word spelled out 5, the word star, the word life.org. Learn more about us and our mission to change the face of education, of sports, of culture. Also, before we dive in, take a moment to just go ahead and hit the like button or even share this. If you're a returning listener, make sure you share this with people. It's helping to kind of expand our network and let people know the good things we're doing. You can listen to this show anywhere that podcasts are streamed. It's going to be a good show.
It is. What are we going to talk about?
So we're going to talk about your shivering coat. We got that out of the way. Check that off the box.
Thank you. That was important.
We have a lot of exciting things happening right now. We've had a busy last couple of weeks, kind of a busy month for us. A lot going on. Just came off of an incredible 6-week program with our SNAP leadership program, which is this unique program we were asked to do by the South Bend PD and the Juvenile Justice Center of St. Joe County, working with kids who got into minor trouble. And it's a diversion program that keeps them from reoffending and going into the system. So the caveat is it's for the kids and a parent as well. And it is just it's so fun because the kids and parents come in the first day and it's like they have to be there, like they're mandated to be there. And how many things you signed up for, you signed up for, but you were forced to do it? Have you ever been a part of something where you were forced to do it?
Gosh, I'm sure I have been, but
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally when your parents sign you up for something or tell you this is going to be your best friend or whatever, usually it brings out just not happy feelings and emotions. And that's what people experience the first day. That's what we get experience from them. Mm-hmm. It's like they were told to do this. They have to do it. So they come in. The kids, they're kids. So they're just kind of in kid mode, whatever, a little bit disconnected. But the parents, they're irritated most of the time simply because their kid got into trouble. And now they feel like they're being punished for it. Mm-hmm. So they're taking time out of their evening for 6 weeks and then a full day on a Saturday, and it's just super inconvenient.
It's kind of like a double punishment because they already went through whatever their child did, and now it's like they, you know what I mean? Now they are truly getting punished for what they did.
Yes.
In their eyes, I'm sure.
And that's how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
So until the first session, and they leave different because it's 5-star. It's so, how we do it is just so engaging and fun. And it is not you think about the system, right? You think about it's a legal system. That's what it's supposed to be, right? It's very rigorous. And they step into a program that is really based on our 5 core values and the skills we're teaching. And so it's all people from our staff that are on a mission to help people win and change their mindset. So after the first day, they're like, oh, this is going to be good. And then the change begins, the receptivity begins. So we just finished a 6-week journey, and it's always so fulfilling to watch where kids and parents start and where they finish.
And you seem like you had a very diverse group of parents this time. Maybe it's every time, but this time when you were sharing, I was like...
Yeah, so, when you think about kids who get in trouble, it's so easy to think about, okay, it's people in poverty, or it's people here, it's people there, which it is often people who, or kids who are low income, right? If you look at these labels and these stereotypes that we put on people, which I don't even like to talk about, because it's very... you think about kids getting in trouble, it is not a white problem, it's not a black problem, it's not a rich problem, it's not a poor problem. We've had kids of all socioeconomic, standards and levels participate in SNAP. This cohort was just boys, and we had some very high-flying parents, and we have some parents that, your heart just... goes out to them, because this is just one more thing in a long string of challenges that they've had. But here's my challenge to people who have never interacted with people that have had kids in trouble. And I'm not talking about just family members or whatever. I'm talking about, have you ever done life with them? And this is where I want to encourage people who are listening or watching, like, if you want to make a difference in a family's life, in a kid's life, you really need to consider getting involved with our SNAP leadership program. In 6 weeks, you will walk alongside a kid, a family, and you will... People just... This world is so harsh, Mia. It's so cold, and life can be so hard, especially with all the craziness of our modern day issues and economic issues, that when you provide an environment where it's nothing but encouragement and support, and then some really simple, practical tools to help parents win with their kids, and then to help kids win in their own mindset, in their heart, in their academics, and with their relationship with their parents, when you provide that opportunity, they're like sponges. So there's not this resistance. There is like, here's a safe space that we can grow into.
I think that's the most important word. It's a safe space.
Yeah.
And Seth, what kind of offenses do these kids have? I mean, are they all over the board? Are they similar?
All over the board. These are, for the most part, these are the minor ones, right? So like if kid is, if you shoot and kill somebody, you're not coming to the SNAP program.
Sure.
You're going to be incarcerated. You're going to wait until you're tried. So these are the minor offenses. This is kids who run away from home consistently. Kids who are extremely truant, like they're not going to school, like they haven't been to school in 40 days or 50 days or whatever. Kids who, you get into minor types of, again, we say minor, but these are things that are super important, but they're considered minor because the system is so overrun with like the bigger offenses that in the past, these issues have just gone by the wayside, and nobody's addressing these families and these kids. And so what happens is nothing, and 70% of them will graduate to offense that will land them in the system.
So we're trying to catch kids before they go in the system.
It's a net to catch them. And so far, from 70% recidivism to 13%. And it was so cool. I was meeting with Dr. Brunsma at JJC last week, and get done meeting with him and we're walking out, and we run into a grandfather and his grandson who were in a previous cohort of our SNAP program. And it was so fun because I remember sitting, week after week and this grandfather who just, I mean, he's a man's man. He's a great grandfather, but he was not planned to be a dad to a kid who his dad is not in the picture, has never been in the picture, and a mom who is addicted and not fit to be a mom. And so the incredible rejection that this young man faced led him to incredible anger and to do some things that, some violent things. And so we run into him, and first question that Bree, our curriculum specialist asked was, how are your grades? Because that was what we were focusing on as they were going back to school. He was a part of our summer program. So we're trying to prepare him to reset this school year. He got this big smile on his face, said, I've got all A's and B's.
Wow.
And we just celebrated with him. And I looked at his grandfather, and he said, it's not just the grades. He said, his behavior in our home has been transformed. He is doing so good. And I watched this grandfather in tears week after week just saying, I don't know what to do. And so this is the power of that journey we take families on, that support on. So it's super exciting. All right, we got to take a quick break, and I want to encourage you at the break, text somebody, share this with somebody, and we'll be right back after this.
Did you know that you can bring the values, lessons, and mindsets Coach Seth discusses on the 5-Star Life podcast to your local community? Schools are searching for programs and content that work. Just a simple introduction to your teacher or principal could be a game changer in your community. Inquire at 5starlife.org, and someone from our team will be in touch.
Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with my co-host, Coach Mia.
Thanks, Seth. We were having a great conversation about a grandfather and his grandson that you just ran into that went through our SNAP program. And he came in, I would assume, defeated. You said he was angry, but you checked in.
Yeah, and with these kids in these situations, so much of it comes down to not the things we naturally as adults think about. You see a kid acting up. You see a kid breaking windows out of anger. He busted out all the windows in their house. Wow. Being disrespectful, even violent towards his grandmother. I mean, these are things that make any person's blood boil at the disrespect, right? So the first response as adults is, what is wrong with these kids? They need to be disciplined. We need to do blah, 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 blah. And what happens is they come into our program, and what we do is we find out that, okay, they have a story, and if your dad is dead and your mom's on drugs, you have major abandonment issues, major rejection issues. So when you think about the core of who this young man is, he's got so much rejection, so much chaos. He doesn't know who he is. And so there's just pure anger that is covering up and coming out of the surface that's hiding the deep hurt that he's facing, he's living with every day. And so what happens is when he doesn't get what he wants, when he doesn't get this, it just comes out the most inopportune times. But when we walk through our curriculum with him and start to give him some hope and some practical steps at how to manage this, and that he gets to determine who he wants to be, and that he can start to let go of the things that have happened to him, and that he does not have to be defined by who left him, by who's there for him, that he can write his own destiny.
Now, on the other side of that, though, what are you teaching? In this case, it's the grandparents, but what are you teaching the parents?
So, we talk to the parents and the grandparents about we actually go through the same curriculum, but it's through different lenses. And you come to find out that often it's cyclical. Not all the time, but a large portion of the time. The issues that the kids are facing are a part of a greater cycle. And so when we start to talk to the parents about, we just went through this with the cohort we're finishing up, we talked about, and I think we touched on this last in the last episode, but we talked about conflict resolution with parents and kids. And we asked the question, what was your relationship like growing up with your parent, with your guardian? And almost all of them had some serious trauma and lots of drama that shaped their personality, that shaped who they were. And so, we talk about this with the parents, but then we encourage them, like, if you can learn as a parent to make sure you get a vision when your child came out of the womb, when they came into this world, you had unconditional love for them. There's been a lot of life that's gone by since then, and there's a lot of choices that may have disrupted how you see your son, your daughter. But as a parent, if you can go back to what you see, what you love, what you hope for your child, grab a hold of that vision and make sure you realign your actions, your words, and how you see them with that vision, it will transform the way you parent from here on out.
That's good.
Because naturally, kids look into our eyes when we're talking to them and they can see, they get the vibe, they're upset with me, and this is the hardest one, they don't believe in me anymore. Or it can be also this way. It can be, they're afraid of me. They're afraid for me. And what that does, that puts massive question marks in their identity. If they're afraid of me, what am I? What's wrong with me? See, I'm a loser. I'm a failure. I'm always disappointing them. I've hurt them. So we talk about these core issues that are really simple. Let's refresh your memory of the dreams, the visions you had for your kid before the choices, or before the world labeled them and put them in a box and you started to believe the box was who they were. And it's very powerful for parents. Just step back and think about that. Zero judgment, but I see it across the board.
And I believe in this environment, they're able to like share some deep things that, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times you think something, you're like, oh my gosh, I would never say that. But sometimes when you can say it and somebody else says, you know what, I was thinking that same thing.
I think the power of it is it's almost like anonymous reporting. They're coming into a program, not with their coworkers, not with their neighbors, not with their extended family, who, unfortunately, the people that we should be connecting with and being vulnerable with, who should be supporting us, we're often afraid to go to those people. And for some good reasons, because there is judgment. And there is a stigma that can, they'll look at you differently from that point on. So this environment where it's safe because it's almost like they don't know, these are strangers. It's weird how you can be more open with somebody in an airport or at the mall when you're shopping in a moment, and you can't be with people that you are around.
Right. Well, you're kind of thrown into these situations, and they're all like situations, So, but again, you know what? There is something about not having any connection, but you do have a connection because you know what I mean. Your kids are all in trouble,
and that's so powerful for them to come into this, because at the root of kind of the parent identity piece is they feel very much responsible for their kids, even if they maybe outwardly are, trying to push back that I'm the perfect parent. The reality is none of us are perfect parents. Those people don't exist. It's hard. So when they can start to share, and then another person chimes and said, I know exactly how you feel. I've been there. You're okay. There's this incredible power in unity, and they all have that shared experience. They don't feel alone. Yeah. Like, these people get me.
Another cool thing that we do with these SNAP programs is, so we start the cohort and we end at Summit, correct?
Yeah, so sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes at the end. It kind of depends on timing wise. But yeah, we did a leadership day up at Summit this past Saturday, and it was like 40 degrees and rainy all day, 80% of the day. But it was it was the most powerful day of breakthrough for these families. And it was almost like illustrated their life. Not every family, but a lot of the families, it's like their whole life is raining. Mm-hmm. It has been that way for years. It's cold, it's raining. That's their life. And we take them through all these different leadership experiences and learning opportunities that brings out and exposes some of the things that we know they need to tackle. And there were so many breakthroughs. So I don't have time to get into it because we have about a minute before we break. But I'll tell you that we took them through the ropes course, which the whole ropes course is designed to induce and incite fear. Because we're born with two fears. The fear of heights is a natural fear we're born with, and the fear of loud noises. Those are just security systems, right? You're up high, don't step off the ladder. It's dangerous. Loud noise, don't step off that sidewalk. There's a Mack truck coming. Every other fear is learned behavior. Think about that. Every other fear besides those two fears, according to research, it's learned behavior. Mm. So any other fear that you and I have developed, we've learned some, we've picked it up along the way. So we have the ropes course as a way of inducing some of that and bring that to the table so they can start to see, okay, I've got some fears that it's almost at the subconscious level. It's been around. It's like a friend. Yeah. It's everywhere I go. I didn't realize that I have fear over this and that, and it causes these reactions. And so the ropes course brings out some of those fears. It's super powerful.
Can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah. We'll jump into that in our next segment. We're going to take a quick break. Again, if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and hit like, share, and subscribe to this show. We'll be right back after this.
Five Star Life is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to changing the face of culture by changing kids' mindsets. Since 2005, we've impacted hundreds of thousands of lives thanks to the generous support of individuals, small businesses, corporations, and foundations. Are you interested in helping Five Star Life grow into all 50 states? With your donation or introduction, you can help bring Five Star Life to your community, school, and state. Go to fivestarlife.org and send us an email today. That's FIVESTARLIFE.org.
Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in the studio with my co-host, Coach Mia.
Thanks, Seth.
So we're having this conversation about the SNAP program. It's kind of become a lot about SNAP, but I want to tie this segment and kind of put a bow on it because we had the 6-week journey with this program. And, I don't know how to explain this. People almost, you have to experience this. And that's why I'm telling people, go to fivestarlife.org and click the volunteer button and fill out a volunteer application and sit down with one of our team members and look at getting involved. We have so many problems in this world, in our community. The way that we change it is by getting our hands dirty and being a part of the solution. When you look at violence, when you look at poverty, when you look at a lot of the problems, addiction, so much of it comes down to mindset and human connection and a lack thereof. People who are accepted instead of rejected, people who are healthy, they do not fall into those categories. But when you've been abandoned, you feel like a loser, and your identity is a centimeter high, you do anything to take the pain away to cope with it. When you're confident and secure, a lot of these decisions are way beneath you because you value yourself so much. Mm-hmm. But when you have no value and you've lived so long being devalued by the world, by your family members maybe, by your environment, you settle for lesser things. So I want to encourage you, think about getting involved in what you're doing is you are putting value into kids, into families. It will train you how to do that. So this 6-week journey, here's the best way I can try to give you the experience that I just went through and families went through. But you have a mom and a son, and teenage son, middle school son. 3 years ago, dad drops dead. That's traumatic. In the living room, in front of the whole family. 6 weeks later, the dad's brother, their uncle, same thing happens. That's traumatic. But what ensues is what people don't often think about that comes with death, sudden death like that. Mom is a stay-at-home mom. So dad's an engineer. He's the breadwinner. Now, economically, it's a whole different ball of wax. They now have to sell their home. They have to downsize. They have to relocate. Private schools are done into the public school system for the first time. It's a lot of change. The son gets into trouble, lands in the SNAP program. And they come in, 3 weeks into the program, mother diagnosed with cancer. Think about this. When I talked about the fact that the Leadership Day at Summit was an analogy that is in alignment with their life, it's raining and cold. It's been cold and rainy for 3 years for that family. It's been awful. They come into our SNAP program and begin to take steps and move forward. They come to the SNAP Leadership Day and have an incredible day and very challenging day, but they throw themselves into it on the ropes course. They've been through trauma, and there's a lot of fear. The more trauma you've been through, the more fearful you are as an individual, with good reason. The son gets on the course, gets halfway through, has a total panic attack meltdown. Dramatic, painful to watch. He's battling. He gets back to the platform. He's embarrassed. He feels bad. So mom is going to model for son that you can do this. She gets on. This woman is going through cancer treatment. Gets on our course. This is where I want to erase the stigma of people who have kids that get into trouble. That, they've got this issue and they've got that issue. I'm here to say that we all have issues. But the environment, the circumstances can compound the issues we have. When you have lots of supports, you have people that take the pressure off that you can get through those things. When you have no supports, it is so hard. Right. So here is this strong woman modeling for her son, putting herself out there in front of all these other families on a very difficult element. She successfully crushes it, takes a break. She's coming back, and she has this moment where she almost does the splits in the course. It's crazy. It's painful. And she has this fear panic moment on the course. It requires us to go into a triage rescue where we have to rescue her off the course. It is traumatic. It's embarrassing. It's hard. And they leave that day, and there's a lot that goes on in between mother and son. And last night, I have this conversation, like, how are you guys doing? Saturday was intense because we put them in intense situations. Sometimes it's the fire in a controlled environment that brings healing. There's actually research about that. I just read a study. We're going to do a series on how to break through in mental health. And there is research that suggests, although the temptation when we're in pain, in trauma, with anxiety or depression or whatever, the temptation is to run away from all the hard things. But research is now showing that it's actually better to hang in there and learn how to fight through it. What 5-Star does, and what that ropes course does, is it in a safe environment, it allows them to fight through those things. So she tells me, it's like, Saturday was the breakthrough I've been waiting for 3 years for my son. She said it was so powerful. What came out of that was we did a lesson on this whole fight, flee, or freeze response. That was the lesson of the day. And her son, when his father passed away, and it's happening fast, he felt like he was responsible because he didn't know what to do.
Oh my gosh.
He felt like if he would have called 911 faster, if he would have done CPR faster, if he would have, he just froze. And on the ropes course, when he got to fear, he froze. And so all of this is being revealed to him and to the mother, who can now step in to that moment in a safe space and say, no, baby, this was not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking full responsibility for his dad's death.
And he's in middle school.
He's in middle school. And so much of his life has been filtered through, I killed my dad. And on the ropes course, I did that to my mom because I couldn't do it. She had to I did this to her. So he's taking crazy amounts of responsibility for something that's not his fault. Yeah. And this is what really rips at the heart and soul of kids, is when they take ownership and take responsibility for things that they were never meant to carry. And it becomes what identifies them. Yeah. So talk about breakthrough. This could have followed him for years and shaped his entire childhood. He still has to learn how to live without a father. That's hard enough. Mm-hmm. But he does not have to, he no longer has to live with this twisted idea, this tragic idea that I did this to my dad. I ruined our family.
Think about if they had never been introduced to SNAP and forced to go to SNAP and taught how to have those conversations. I mean, he would have carried that forever.
So it's you have that family. You have another family who grandmother came along with grandson to every program and spent the whole day up at Summit in the rain and the cold. These are incredible people.
Wow. And
because dad is not in the picture, mom also not in the picture, so grandma is the rock, is it. And this kid comes into the program, hoodie up, head down, disengaged. The second week of the program, his coach is like, Chef, what are you doing? He's ripping up his binder, his curriculum binder, like shredding it, just the rage. He has totally shredded this thing and throws it in the trash. But here, in a lot of situations, people would be like, well, that's disrespectful and that's this.
Right.
And you just like hammer the kid. And then you get this crazy fear, anger response, right?
Right.
Because that's what he's used to. But in Snap, it's like, his coach is just like, man, what was that all about?
Yeah.
All about, and just kind of gave him a little bit of a pass and brought him back into it. Well, he finishes the program. He hates every week of it. He doesn't smile. He doesn't enjoy it. But on that leadership day, he breaks through on that ropes course, and he's like a stud up there.
Aww.
And he's leaving last night. Now, I was just giving a few encouraging words. I'm like, man, good luck. He's like, I'm coming back. I'm like, your grandma's making you come back? He's like, no, I want to come back. And he smiled. There's a crack in the wall of a heart, and there's a lot there that we haven't got to yet with him, but it's starting to come. That's the power of 5-star. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Five Star Life offers year-round programs for kids at our 350-acre training facility that we call Summit. These programs focus on 3 core components. First, each program includes lessons from our curriculum that targets kids' mindset. Secondly, each program teaches a skill like equine, archery, blacksmithing, basketball, fishing, boating, and many more. Thirdly, our programs connect kids to mentors we call coaches, who are trained to help kids live a 5-star life. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more or sign up your kids.
Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and we are wrapping up with my co-host, Coach Mia, our last part of our show here. We really talked about this SNAP program. Again, go to 5starlife.org to learn more about how you can get involved in volunteering. We need an army of volunteers because this program is so successful that we're being asked by the state and by local organizations to expand it. And so we are going to have more and more families signing up, and we don't want to turn any of them away. So we're going to need more people that want to come alongside parents, that want to come alongside kids. So if you know of anybody who is interested in getting involved, it's a 6-week commitment, and it's about 2.5 hours once a week, and then a Saturday. That's the commitment. And just going full circle, here's some surveys. We give surveys to parents at the end, and we ask targeted questions. One of the things that came out of this was, what is at least one thing you learned from 5-star? And this parent said, the greatest source of conflict is from within. It's pretty deep.
Now, on the other side, her first sentence says, I didn't want to be here when it started.
Yeah, and then we give them like an open slot just to write whatever they want to 5-star. And the first sentence is, I didn't want to be here, which is so understandable. I wasn't looking forward to coming to this class for 6 weeks, but I'm glad I did. It was wonderful to connect with other parents who share similar struggles. It was good to take a good look inward and find those ways to try to make myself better and to handle future situations with more grace and respect.
I love that. Because, to go through that and come out that, I'm going to look inside, not like, what did my son or daughter take out of this? It's like, no, I got a part in this play too.
Well, and there's something so powerful about learning together. Like when your kids see you learning in like that's very under-discussed and undervalued. There's something so powerful about doing that together. Mm-hmm. She then said, your coaches are amazing and made everyone feel welcome and valued. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for this program.
That's awesome.
So thanks to everybody that supports 5-star. There's so many supporters, sponsors that believe in the mission of 5-star. And, every time you donated, you were donating to make this happen. You should feel amazing about that because you're impacting, and we hear this a lot today. There's so many different programs that impact different individual things, but a program that actually works with kids and parents, the whole family can come, literally the whole family. It's such a unique thing, and it's so powerful for them to go through that experience together. Like last Saturday, they created some new core memories that were really positive, right? That's what people are supporting and people are part of.
Do they usually bring a family member, like another brother or sister?
So, we encourage them to sign up siblings that are of the, 12 to 17. Mm-hmm. They can enroll. So we do have siblings that sign up. Often the siblings come the next cohort. If the family is enrolled, they're like, this is so good. We want to bring our other son or other daughter. So, which is very cool. Mm-hmm. What else here? There's so much on here. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but people get the drift. It's a very cool the feedback you get from parents at the end of it. You can see it's working. The other student I want to talk about he's a 17-year-old, just a great, respectful young man that made some bad choices, and his dad was in prison while he was growing up, or on drugs. His mom is amazing. She's a rock star. She's great. This kid, the interesting thing about him is he had this breakthrough moment in the ropes course too, where he fought through fear. Not in a dramatic way, but in a very quiet, just internal way. And he's so connected with everybody and everything at Summit. And he literally, at the end of the day, he told his coach, he's like, Coach, I think I belong here. Like, I think there's a place for me here. And he wasn't just talking about like for the day, but he's like, it was 17-year-old boys can be people of few words, but it was like he's saying, I love this so much. I want to be more involved here. I can see myself working here, volunteering here. And basically like, I want to be just like this coach over here. And that's the other cool part of 5-star.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool part of Summit, though, as well, because we work hard to make Summit what it is, and to hear those stories, we've done something right up there.
Yeah, and if you've never been to Summit, you need to take a tour because it is just incredibly beautiful. Mm-hmm. And there are so many ways to get involved volunteering at Summit as well with these programs specifically. Like we have a program staff for SNAP, but then we had a program staff that just comes out to volunteer that was there on the ropes course. Mm-hmm. So full circle. Get this. How powerful is this? We have kids having dramatic meltdowns, panic attacks in the ropes course. And we have a staff member who is leading the ropes course who 10 years prior was in their shoes, who lived through hell, was sexually, physically assaulted repeatedly by a wicked, evil individual who is now serving life in prison. Went through major trauma. 5-star life comes into his life at this rage-filled stage in middle school. He's just angry. He's getting in trouble. He's getting suspended. 5-star life comes into his life, changes his life. He becomes a huge success. He's now on staff, and now he's the one that's coaching kids through those moments on the ropes course. That's the power of being a part of 5-star, whether it's volunteering or donating. You're part of these generational transformations, and that's fun.
Very cool.
So we have some other things coming up, and I wanted to share this, see if I can find this. We just launched 5-Star Life. I want to give a shout out to Edwardsburg Public Schools. It has been so fun to partner with that school district in southern Michigan. Just incredible leadership, people with vision, and a school board that cares about their kids. It's a small school district, and I love small school districts because they can really get so much done. The bigger the district, the more bureaucracy that's involved. But I'm just super excited about them kicking off 5-Star. And I wanted to share this. This is just from one of their leaders, just shared this in a quick email as they kicked off. And she just said, I just want to drop you a note that I want to share my appreciation for you and your team as I'm sitting here listening to lesson number 5 in 5-Star video curriculum about sacrifice and habits. Man, I needed this! ! Things are going well. Thanks for all you do. So we hear enough bad news about education and everything they're doing wrong, and it's just there's a lot they're doing it right. There's a lot that's right, and we love that we get to partner with schools to help them do it right. And just want to give them credit. Like, these are people that are up late thinking about your kids, thinking about how to improve. And then they have their own personal lives too. And it's so cool that we can really support schools in this way.
Real quick, they came out as a whole school system, correct?
Yeah. So they really followed our best practices. We recommended, if you want to launch 5-Star Life with Strength, it's so important that you get teacher buy-in. And to do that, do a leadership day at Summit. And so they brought, I think 3 days in a row or something, they brought teachers out from all their buildings and had a leadership day. And when we did full training, orientation, onboarding to 5-Star Life video curriculum. And I think it really helped them start strong.
And now we just had 9th graders out last week too.
That's right. We had freshman success students, and I got to meet a bunch of the boys. They were just phenomenal. Really sharp kids, thoughtful. I met them over at the archery range, and they were just knocking out of the park. There's one kid that was just shooting like bullseyes after bullseye, and he had never shot before. So he was like on fire. He was like,
I was there that day, and it almost sounded like gunshots because they were firing them quickly.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They sure were. All right. We're out of time. Thanks for tuning in. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more. Share this, like this, subscribe to this.
At 5-Star Life, we are changing the face of culture through education and sports by changing the most important piece of a human being's life, their mindset. If you are interested in being a part of our journey, please visit 5starlife.org for more information on volunteer and donation opportunities.